Good morning. Welcome to Pastor Paffel's Corona devotional thoughts for today. The day is day 29, and the text is from 2 Corinthians. That is the book of 2 Corinthians. Excuse my neighbours, bless them. 2 Corinthians 6, verse 2. The verse says this: "For he says, at an acceptable time I listened to you, and in the day of salvation I helped you. And see, now is the acceptable time. Now is the day of salvation." Oh, this was fire. Listen, you know what? This is really hard to hear. Shall I tell you why? Because we don't know why now was the acceptable time. Why 2,000 years ago, when Jesus was born, why was that the right time? Now, arguably, the biblical narrative had been building, the Hebrew story had been coming alive, the promises, the chances, the effort had been put in, the narrative had built, the crescendo was the birth of Jesus. Absolutely. But could Jesus not have been born in the time of Daniel? Could he not have been born? I don't have it. These are all legitimate questions. But what we do know is that it was the time, and it was at the right time, and it happened for the right reasons, because salvation is the thing. God is trying to save us. And so he's trying to save our relationship with him. He's trying to save our humanity. He's trying to, and I find this one is really interesting because people often think that humans are good. I think we have a tendency to believe, especially if you live in a Western country, that like humans are nice people. But you only have to see the level of crime, deprivation, hunger, the abuse cases that have gone up since we've been locked down. The fact that we've destroyed the planet so much that literally people are seeing blue sky for the first time because there's not been pollution for 2 months. That's how deep that is. What the destructive nature of humans, to restore our humanity is a huge deal, to restore our peacefulness. And I'm going to say that that's not easy to see when you look at Christians who are applauding the worst behaviour in the world. Like when they're standing up there like, yes, of course he's right, drink bleach, or whatever nonsense is going on. Like, just put that aside. Concentrate on the biblical narrative, concentrate on the Bible, concentrate on those people you've connected with who are actually Christians. Just put aside all the sinners, just for a minute, and concentrate on this, because I really want you to understand that it is the right time. And it is the right time for whatever is happening in your life to make good decisions, to begin anew. It is the right time for your salvation. There is no other time than now. This is a right time. And you can think about, okay, but we're in lockdown. How am I going to get baptized? How am I going to join a church? How am I going to do these things? How am I going to connect to a community? How am I going to read my Bible? There is a lot of overwhelming questions. But here's the thing. Your salvation is always at the right time. It may feel inconvenient to everyone else, but it is at the right time. And if you don't know that, contact me, because I've done a baptism during Corona and I was fully gowned, masked, gloves up, everything. Didn't get to stand in the water with the person, but they had to kind of do half the baptism. But we did it, and we celebrated and we rejoiced. And when we stood, I had to stand from afar, and that was a really painful moment, but also it was a really crystallizing moment for me, the importance of water, because there was a moment when everything was let go. We did the baptism, I'm like gowned up, masked up, everything, like I'm covered because I have to be. And the person had my hand gloved up, everything, and for some reason they just fell backwards into the water. They're a fish. I'm not a fish. This would terrify me. And I saw the transformation happen. I saw the Holy Spirit just relieve them of all of their stress. There was just a transformation of peace as they just rested, and then they came forward. And I looked, and I, who have been involved in ministry for decades now and have been a pastor for over a decade, I who have seen baptisms and have been moved by my family's baptisms, by younger brothers who I've adopted in the church, my kids, just stood for one of the first times I've really just embraced the Holy Spirit's working. And now is the time. Now is the time. And I'm not advocating that everyone get baptized. It's not appropriate. It's just not appropriate to all get baptized. But you can make a decision for God. You don't need to do all the bells and whistles. There are people who are in our churches who are wanting to be baptized, and they will wait till after Corona because they want to be part of a church family. So they will come into the church after Corona and do that. But you can make a decision for God in your room. You can make a decision for God in your car. You can make a decision for God as you listen to this video. You can make a decision for God later today when it hits you. You can make a decision for God sitting in a garden. You can make a decision for God looking at 4 walls, ready to die, and thinking, I can't do any more. God, please help me. You can do that. And your salvation, your humanity, your relationship with God can be restored. I believe that. It's real. 2 Corinthians, the book of 2 Corinthians, author Paul believes that. He knows that that's real for you. Seriously, just take a moment. I didn't mean to preach. I kind of preached, didn't I? That's not really a thought for day if you're preaching, but I got excited. It's something I feel passionate about. So blessings. Have a wonderful day. Bye.